Now you listen to me. You will get your act together and you will get back to work, or else I will come down there with a dull spoon and I will chop your pinky off. Do you understand me? That's what I thought. What's up, guys? It is Shane Scott back again with another video. And in this one, we will be reviewing one of my favorite movies from 2018 so far, Hereditary, which just flat out is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen in my life, if not the scariest. Definitely probably the scariest movie in the last 10 years, maybe even more. This movie is absolutely terrifying. I loved it so much. We're just going to go ahead and get started with the review. What I enjoyed about the movie, what was great, for one, Toni Collette as the mother was fantastic. Her acting performance was amazing. One of the best that I've seen in 2018 so far. She absolutely killed it, and she made this movie so much better than it already was. Another great performance, Alex Wolff, was fantastic as well. I'm a huge fan of him as is, and he killed it in this movie. Millie Shapiro also was amazing. One of the greatest child performances I've ever seen. She was super, super good in this movie. Just the acting in general was great all around, and it really made this movie 20 times better than it already was. The director of the movie, Ari Aster, this was his first feature film, and he freaking kills it. The tone is perfectly set throughout the entire movie from the beginning to the end, and the screenplay, just the story in general, is absolutely amazing. I loved it so much. It's just a very engaging story, and it hooks you in from the very beginning, and you don't ever want to look away. You don't ever want to, you don't get bored during the story, anything like that. The story is just great altogether. I loved it. Uh, this movie does great balancing the horror aspect as well as a family drama aspect to it, which makes a more realistic movie for something that is a horror movie. You see these characters and they're struggling with their family. They just want to be a good family, happy family, things like that. And it's almost relatable at some points during the movie, even though it's a movie that has all these horror aspects as well. They do a perfect job of balancing both the horror and the family aspect of the movies. And the acting is just what makes this movie so much more realistic because of how great they all do in it. And it's just overall perfect balance between horror and family drama, and I love that. The cinematography in this movie is absolutely insane, and I don't usually don't notice that stuff a lot. I'll notice it like when it's super good, but I usually don't ever want to talk. Like it's never something that I'm like, okay, I need to bring this up. But it's so good in this movie that I felt like I had to, because some of the freaking shots in this movie are just absolutely beautiful. Well, not beautiful, but they're awesome. They're great. I love a lot of the shots in this movie. Just cinematography in this movie, freaking fantastic. One thing I really do like about this movie is that it doesn't rely on jump scares to try to scare you like a lot of modern day horror movies do, where they're just jump scare after jump scare trying to catch you off guard and scare you. But instead it uses the images it's showing and just suspense in general to absolutely terrify you. I watched this movie alone, and there were multiple times where I was sitting there like this, and I don't remember the last time, if ever, I've had to do that for a horror movie. I mean, this just some of the things they show, some of the shots in this movie are just fucking disturbing. And like for those who've seen the movie, there's one scene in particular I'm talking about. They know, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But just gosh, some of the shots in this movie are so disturbing. It's sick, and that's what makes this movie so scary. Is all of the suspense and then the acting performance. It just all comes together perfectly, so that it doesn't need jump scares. So that the rare occasion when it does use a jump scare, it's so effective that it's just probably the most I've ever jumped in a movie theater from watching a movie, just because of how little of the jump scares there are and how perfectly they are used. It all fit together perfectly. All the horror aspects meshed together perfectly. It was fantastic. Just in general, I walked out of this movie physically shaking, trying to understand what I just watched. Just overall, this movie is terrifying. It's a family drama. It's just this movie. I could go on about this movie for a long time, talking about how much I loved it, because I really did enjoy this movie a lot. Um, and there's not many bad things I have to say about the movie. The one big problem, if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch the trailer, because there is like maybe one or two shots in the trailer that spoils things in the movie. And luckily, I watched the trailer once and I didn't catch on to it. But I watched the trailer after the movie. I saw the movie because someone mentioned how this trailer spoils parts of the movies, and it definitely does. So if you have not seen the movie already, do not watch the trailer. Just go into it kind of knowing it's a scary movie. That's really all you need to know, and you will enjoy it because the trailer could ruin a few things for you. And the other bad thing that really, just the only complaint I have with the actual movie as a whole is the ending, because I feel like the entire movie is very suspenseful, and it kind of not keeps things from us, but the way it doesn't show us everything adds to how scary the movie is. I kind of think the same with The Shining, how I don't fully understand that movie, and that's what makes it scarier for me, is that I think that was like part of the point, is that you don't understand the entirety of this movie, and that's just kind of how the movie is supposed to go, and that's how this felt for me for the entire movie. And then the ending, I feel like it was like, okay, all that has been leading to these last 2 minutes of the movie right here. Here we go. And it was kind of just like, I feel like it could have ended without kind of revealing everything that kind of wraps up the entire movie. That could have left some things up for question, up for grabs, things like that. And it would have been a much better ending. So the only problem I actually have with this movie is the ending. But other than that, I think this movie is absolutely perfect. And let's just go ahead and rate it. I am going to give this movie 4.5 light bulbs out of 5 light bulbs. Very amazing movie. If you have not seen this movie yet, please go check it out. It is fantastic. If you are a fan of horror, you should like this movie. I think you will like this movie. So I definitely recommend this movie 100%. It is easily one of my favorites of 2018. And yeah, that's all I got to say about Hereditary. If you have already seen the movie, let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on the movie because I really enjoyed this movie. And maybe some of you guys didn't. So I want to know how you guys thought of the movie. Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. That is all. Thank you guys.